Maurice Parker. Welcome to the Maurice Parker channel. We talk about sports. And let's get into it as we have concluded week 2 of the NFL preseason. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the game in Detroit, in Atlanta versus the Detroit Lions. It was suspended in the fourth quarter because the safety, Morris, went down with an injury and had to be ambulance off the field. It was not a pretty sight to see. To say that his extremities and everything, his hand movements, his eyes, everything, his arms and everything was in the room. Both teams was in solidarity, praying, and everybody was making sure that they was not going to finish the game. It was good to see that moment where they just came together and almost made it. They was all at one thing about the environment, the team. It's always said it's not that happened in football. It ended up happening because he was running to the tackle. He took a knee. He had his helmet. He took a knee to the head. Unfortunately, went down his heart and kind of locked in on himself. But thankfully, I think there's a prayer, and thankfully to the works of God that he was able to start having feelings in his arms and legs again. And that was the most important thing. I just wanted to make sure we came out to show us and thank you for that young man to be able to have the feelings and stuff like that. Because I do believe there changes as you saw the NFL level on that. So good luck to you, and proud of both teams for ultimately standing in solidarity and talking right out, and rather than have to continue the game, rather to show that they're united because there's some things that's bigger than this one. Now we're going to get off to some week 2 games. First and foremost is the debut of Shorter Sanders. He started for the Cleveland Browns for most of the quarter, and he most started the first, second, and third quarter. He did an outstanding preseason game, in my opinion. There's been a lot of skepticism ever since he got drafted in the 5th round, and came out a few days ago that the owner did not want to draft him, which was sad. He actually did not get first team reps with the first team. He's been playing with the 4th stringers and 3rd stringers, the route tree. So prior to this preseason game, he didn't play with none of them. So it's different when you're trying to get the timing down, trying to get the route running down, trying to see ball placement, things of that nature, trying to see where people cut at, where they dip, where is the sweet spot when they throw the ball to the trajectory, trying to get all that stuff is important. But he showed flashes of greatness. He threw 2 touchdowns. He drove down the field. He was efficient. He almost did some bad passes that was almost intercepted, but ultimately he showed. I was happy for him because you could tell that young man was going to be some special. People might have thought he only started because his dad, the Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, was the coach, but that's not the case. The young man has talent to make it in this league. I just think that he's been in a situation where, the Browns have to do something, and I'm not going to bash the rookies that's on there because I know that they drafted another fellow rookie, Dylan Gabriel, who was hurt, who did not play. I do want to see how that young man does too, because I'm not going to pin him down either. I do think that he deserves a shot as well. I just think that Cleveland might have got a situation where if you're carrying 4 quarterbacks, you got to give people chances. I believe that Shedeur Sanders deserves a chance, and I believe that Dylan Gabriel deserves a chance as much as the next one. The reason I say this because they're both rookies and they both deserve to equal opportunity regardless. But Shedeur Sanders, you did it. I think that at least you can play better, but we all can play better. For your first time out there with the ones, you did a great job. Another game that I saw that was pretty interesting was it was actually a tie between the Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks, and the game was the debut of Alshon Jeffrey. He was the running back for Boise State. He only got 3 carries and unfortunately had a negative yard run, and that's all the rushing yards he had. Just adjusting to the pro level, as you can see, that it's not like playing the collegiate, but if you play on the professional level, the game is much faster. Players diagnose stuff as quickly, so he has to adjust to the NFL speed. The one thing about what he should do is just take a moment to realize, I'm on the professional level playing against some of the greats. to make it to the NFL. You was practicing with his teams. It may not have been the debut you wanted, but it can only go up. It only can get better. Another thing, the Super Bowl winning champion Eagles played the Bengals, in which the final score was 34-27. And Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase, despite this game, looked really, really good, actually. I know he had to do like a touchdown or two, and that was interesting. And the Eagles looked like it was kind of in mid-season form. We also got to talk about, in this other game that we're going to talk about as well, was... Alright, and the other game we're going to talk about was Arizona versus the Chiefs. Now, Mahomes only played the first series. He only threw one pass at the 1 yard line, but it was a beautiful pass for a touchdown. That says a lot for the other Super Bowl competitors in the game who did not win Super Bowl the last year, but he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's trying to put the season a little bit differently, as all 32 teams are, as he's trying to go back into win a Super Bowl as all the other teams in the NFL are, and I can respect that because you want to get back to the mountaintop, which he has done a few times already in his career. But he's trying to get back, and I do believe that as long as he's a quarterback, he is going to get him a shot every time, just because of the confidence level. But as he knows, he would tell us to the media and everybody else that it isn't easy, especially when the other quarterbacks are still trying to go after them. You still got to deal with Jalen Hurts and other quarterbacks who won a Super Bowl trying to do the same thing, because that's what makes it a competition. But overall, not a bad start. Another game we're going to go over was the Washington Commanders and the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots go right there for real. I mean, the first play they ran a 100-yard kickoff return back for a touchdown, and they just kept stomping on the Commanders. I know it's preseason, but the one thing you know what happened in preseason is the team goes out there and ends up beating you in the fashion in which they was, and that is one thing I can clearly say that happened. Unfortunately, that's the case. But as any great team will tell you that, as any team today, hey, you just gotta bounce back. Get ready for the next one. Another game I would like to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers and Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, the debut of Travis Hunter, who was playing both receiver and corner. He did a really good job, particularly more so as a DB, because he had no passes go to his way on defense. And as a cornerback, that's pretty good. That means that you're doing a job, at least the quarterback can see his progression, and that you're doing a good job covering. He did get some targets. He had caught 2 passes for 9 yards. I actually had to go back. The last receiver that someone played cornerback was Tim Brown, actually. Troy Brown. When you go back to the Louisiana Patriots. Sometimes he would play receiver. He primarily was a receiver, and sometimes he played DB. Again, he did not have the physical attributes that Travis Hunter has, but that's to show you that was a lot for some of his size. Mason Rudolph for the Steelers in preseason looked really good. He had to do a good touchdown to Darnell Washington, and as well, Darnell Washington actually had a flag forward. Dunking the goalposts. This goes back to 2009 when Jimmy Brown did it in the New Orleans Superdome, and they don't want that to happen again with the goalposts get stopped. Now, and also in this game was Little Florida Jacksonville Jaguars who kicked 70-yard field goal. So that means the ball was on their 47-yard line. You got to add 17 yards to it. The fact that he made a 70-yard field goal, it wasn't the fact that he barely made it. It went through. And I know it's preseason, and I know people say, "Oh, it doesn't count," but that counts, folks. To me, like, that's outstanding. Do you know how deadly that this is for a 70-yard field goal? That means if I'm just on my 47-yard line, I could just give it to my kicker, and he just could boom it. That's deadly. Really deadly. I think he's definitely going to make the team after that. Another key plays was another key moment was the fact that that's funny. Another key moment to me was the fact that Skylar Thompson had did a good job. He had the 3 touchdown passes in which he had caught. He had two of them, and it was beautiful passes. He was driving on the field and connecting efficiently. Caleb Johnson, all rookie running back, still did okay. Yeah, good credit to the Jacksonville Jaguars because they were driving too. And they had a highlight play for me, which would be the run. It was 31 to 18, and what they did was the running back had got the ball, had taken his and he had gotten the ball in the end zone, and he just kept pushing forward, and he kept pushing the line. It was along with it. And I ended up having to say that was truly amazing. And when you look back on this piece of football, there's no doubt that it was amazing to watch these games. Just everything about it. I know I was not able to get to all the games this week, but I appreciate whatnot. It's amazing. I want to thank everybody for taking time today to listen to my episode. It's been weeks since I posted this episode. And that's just going to keep going. It's going to take subscriptions. And, thank you. Obviously, we talk about sports alone. We talk about sports alone. I just but I did want to say thank you guys so much for the love, support, the feedback, and everything else that went into this channel. And I want you guys to continue to follow me along. We recently, not too long ago, I think about a week, so within this week, from last week to this week, we reached over 13,000 subscribers, like 313,000, which is amazing. And I couldn't have done it for first of all without my Lord and Savior. I couldn't have done it without you guys. And to everybody out there, thank you so much. And I can't wait to talk more about this stuff. Thank you guys so much. And the next time you see me, it's just going to be amazing. The videos are going to be great. It is definitely going to be something to behold. This is Morris Parker from the Morris Parker channel. Thank you for joining. We always talk about sports, and